Hello, this is Dr. Marty Klein with another video quickie. Today I'd like to talk about mistakes that some people make when they're pursuing non-monogamy, polyamory, that sort of thing. Because polyamory is on many people's minds these days. While poly originally had a specific meaning, many people now use it to simply mean any variety of consensual non-monogamy. In the blogosphere, sexperts and other relationship activists promote poly as a viable option, which of course it is. But is it for everyone? No. In fact, an increasing number of my patients turn to non-monogamy as a way of fixing broken relationships. This is a strategy that frequently does not succeed. Like, our relationship doesn't work, let's add more people. Well, as you know, there's a continuing increase in the number of sexual orientations and sexual identities that people claim. Predictably, some folks are now claiming that poly is their orientation, as if this is supposed to settle all questions about their motives, responsibility, or decision making. Whether we want to consider poly an orientation or not, and I don't think that doing so is very helpful, the fact that it might be an excellent alternative for this or that couple does not mean that it's a good idea for all couples, which is also true about monogamy, of course. Here are some of the fundamental mistakes that my patients have recently made in choosing or implementing poly. While there's nothing wrong with non-monogamy, each vignette provides a cautionary tale. Just because we want to legitimize poly as a relationship format doesn't mean that we should stop thinking clearly about what's necessary to make it successful or identify what elements guarantee failure. So let's take a look at a few. What I call grandfathering in an affair. Say, Jose has an extramarital affair with Sue. His wife, Marta, catches him. Jose announces, I realize I'm poly and I want to live that way. Please accept my relationship with Sue into our life. You know, there's little or no acknowledgement here of the betrayal or the resentment that Marta naturally feels toward the newcomer. There's no discussion about responsibilities or privileges. This clumsy way of creating poly rarely works. And then Jose gets to blame Marta for being closed-minded. Let's look at what I call imposing it on a partner. Indira and Ken have struggled with their desire discrepancy for years. Finally, Indira announces she has to have sex elsewhere. She says to her lower desire mate, look, now you can go and do what you want. As if he wants more sex. I'm going to, so go ahead. While I sympathize with her frustration, Indira might as well say, I'm abandoning you sexually. Non-monogamy is hard enough when two people create it together enthusiastically. Regardless of the subject, no one likes to have their marriage hijacked by their partner saying, here's how it's going to be now. Let's look at two guys who tried doing it without clarifying the rules. Trey and Deshawn want to spice things up, so they decide to be poly, like some of their friends. But in their naive enthusiasm, they do it without seriously discussing rules, boundaries, or expectations. For example, is it okay for one of us to fall in love with someone else? Do I expect that we'll be with each other on our birthdays? Are there any things, sexual or non-sexual, that you'll do only with me? Talking about such details may be uncomfortable. Not talking about details like these ahead of time often leads to consequences that are very painful. And finally, underestimating the maintenance that non-monogamy requires. Pat and Parker have a history. They love each other, but Parker always wants to discuss his feelings and their relationship more than Pat does. When they opened their relationship, Pat assumed that Parker would talk with his new partners, giving Pat a break. But she quickly discovered that poly requires more talking between primary partners, not less. The challenges are many. Allocating each person's finite time, deciding about sleeping arrangements, dividing up each person's sexual energy. Sometimes there's jealousy to deal with. There's even the question of what to tell friends or the kids. Poly arrangements last about as long as monogamous ones, which is to say, they require continual attention. Like monogamy, satisfying poly needs thought, consistent care, self-awareness, and conversation. Being selfish, fragile, non-communicative, and conflict avoidant are bad for a relationship, regardless of its format. If you struggle to talk about your needs and frustrations, non-monogamy will not fix that. It'll simply highlight the problems that this deficit creates in a relationship. If you're hoping that non-monogamy will reduce your partner's desire to process your imperfect intimacy or sex life, you'll probably be disappointed. Of course, struggling together to meet the challenges of poly can enhance a couple's intimacy, expanding their life experiences and bringing sex to a new level, whether inside the couple or with other partners. Sexiness and enthusiasm are not the key predictors of successful non-monogamy. The key predictors are rather a solid foundation of genuine caring, realistic expectations, clear agreements that both partners embrace, and the willingness and ability to communicate no matter how difficult. Well, I'm Dr. Marty Klein. Hey, don't miss my blog posts on subjects like sex addiction or masturbation, sex and power, and my latest about the big increase in young people identifying as queer. Just go to martyklein.com and click on the tab labeled blog. Thanks a lot.